It will be tough to follow the sequence today. So many beautiful and important words have been spoken. Allow me to add a few more. A few months ago, on the 8th of May, I presided over the Madrid opening session of this World Law Congress 2023. So to be here with you on this special occasion at this closing ceremony is, of course, an honor, but also gives me great personal satisfaction. An honor that is multiplied by the significance of this event, at which we have just presented the World Peace and Liberty Award to the European Commission, represented by its President, Ursula von der Leyen. So allow me first to offer her my sincere congratulations on this award, which, without a question, recognizes the most significant project of multinational integration in our recent history. From the outset, it was above all a political and legal project aimed at consolidating peace and democracy in the countries of the continent after World War II. I would also like to extend my congratulations to the recipients today of the World Jurist Association Medals of Honor, presented later on in this ceremony. Among them are extraordinary jurists from all over the world, as well as companies that have demonstrated their extraordinary commitment to the rule of law, a commitment shared by all of us here today. So, as I was saying, this in the closing ceremony of the 28th World Congress has taken more than 2 years of considerable effort to organize and has succeeded in bringing more than 1,000 jurists from 70 different countries. The results of the many discussions in different panels will be of the utmost interest and value to legislators, regulators, judges, jurists, and leaders from all over the world. It is no coincidence that for this ceremony we have gathered at this UN headquarters of New York, which in these times of profound transformation in almost all areas of our lives is called upon to perform an indispensable role in resolving conflicts and working for world peace and cooperation. Without question, it is a pivotal structure of an international architecture founded upon strong and effective multilateral institutions and a law-based international order. This is an idea that the UN Secretary General has always championed. As I mentioned some months ago, when he received the Charles V Award, European Award, in the late Emperor's retirement site, the Monastery of Juste in Cáceres, we thank Secretary Guterres for his generous hospitality today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly a pleasure to be here again at the UN headquarters, a place where, as I mentioned in the Junga of 2016, we must ensure the future of our planet. On this occasion, as I address the World Law Congress, I would like to pay tribute to 2 jurists from the US who, together with Sir Winston Churchill, set out to mobilize the international legal community in order to promote the rule of law over the rule of might. To this purpose, they founded the World Jurist Association. The legacy of these 2 men, Charles Ryan and Earl Warren, must be preserved and handed down to future generations. The Bar Association of the District of Columbia elected Charles Ryan as its president in 1955 after he ran on a single pledge to integrate the Bar Association. At this same moment in his life, he struck a friendship with Earl Warren, recently named President of the US Supreme Court. They discussed the need to undertake a global campaign to promote the rule of law as the only alternative to authoritarianism. This has remained the purpose and mission of the World Jurist Association to this day. That friendship between those 2 men led to the Peace Through Law program, which has since been renamed the World Jurist Association, the oldest, indeed the only international association bringing together all branches of the law, judges, lawyers, professors, and other members of the legal profession at a global level, becoming a kind of international voice of the law. The first World Law Congress, as you mentioned before, was held in Athens in 1963, actually when Greece was still under the reign of my grandfather, King Paul I. And it was around this time, too, that this award was established to acknowledge and express gratitude to those international figures who, through their outstanding efforts, have come to symbolize the promotion and defense of the rule of law. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to pay tribute to the European Commission. Madam President, thank you for doing us the honor of being here to personally accept this prize on behalf of the institution you lead. The European Commission and its immediate predecessor, the High Authority of the European Coal and Steel Community, is still probably one of the most unique elements of the European Union's institutional architecture, and probably also one of the reasons that explains its remarkable success since the Treaty of Paris of 1951. It acts as an institution that represents the European Union's general interests, making sure that all member states and all parts of the European Union benefit from our union. And it plays a key role, of course, in the European Union's political process through its right of initiative in the legislative process. It also acts as a guardian of the treaties, making sure that all member states and economic actors respect the European law, including its fundamental democratic values, as well as the rules that make up our single market. Today, these duties have become more important than ever before. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been roughly 1 year and a half since the Russian aggression against Ukraine started. Since then, we have witnessed the return of war to the continent with a massive loss of human lives, millions of refugees pouring out into safety, and a level of destruction that brings us to memory what most of us only knew from history books, documentaries, or movies. We have seen how the pillars on which we have built our European model for decades have been seriously challenged. Today, we witness a clash between two visions of the world. To make it simple, one of force and repression, of intolerance and exclusion, the other, the European model, based on the values held in Article 2 of the European Union Treaty, such as democracy, human dignity, freedom, equality, the rule of law, and the respect for human rights. Values that are the foundation of the European construction, that are part of the identity of the Union as a political community, and that on such an occasion as today's remind us of Jean Monnet and Robert Schuman, the founding fathers of an ambitious and hopeful project, the current European Union, whose construction began 3/4 of a century ago. And now more than ever, we still need to fight for the European Union as we know it. We need people to lead us and continuously revitalize our trust and our hope in it. Now more than ever, we need the European Union to be a force of good in the world, defending liberty, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of states, also defending a rules-based order in line with the UN Charter. Madam President, you are at the helm of an institution, the European Commission, that has been key to ensure Europe's peace and prosperity for almost 70 years. Like your predecessors, you have faced the different crises and challenges by advocating European solutions. And by doing so, you have contributed to strengthening Europe and pushing European integration to new levels. In these polarized times in which we all live, the Union needs a strong Commission, one that acts as a dependable guardian of the treaties and that keeps up the legislative and political momentum of the reform agenda. At a time when our institutions and norms are being increasingly challenged and even questioned, the European Commission has shown the value of moderation, centrality, and constraint as key traits of doing politics, bringing together all member states in the Council, now presided by Spain for the next 6 months, and all political groupings around the European Parliament. And in this regard, we must not forget that the advances made in building the European project have responded democratically to the will of our citizens, who have largely agreed to strengthen and enlarge the Union. This is a process in which our national parliaments have also, of course, played a decisive role, embracing plurality, respecting difference, seeking the middle ground in order to move forward, adopting debate and consensus as tools of progress. These actions and attitudes are at the very heart of democracy and essential to preserve it. Because as Europeans, President von der Leyen, I think we clearly share the belief that democracy is today the soul of Europe. Madam President, we thank you once again and congratulate you for this award that recognizes the important role played by the European Commission in safeguarding the European project as one of principles and values, rights and freedoms, prosperity and peace. You know you can always count on Spain in working towards this objective, because these times demand greater unity, and that is how we have responded and will continue to do so within the European framework. We will have to keep maintaining unity both within Europe and together with our key partners, allies and friends, supporting Ukraine and in upholding the international order. In this task, it is important to count on our allies, on the European friends, and of course, countries like this one that hosts us, the United States, and all those like-minded partners, countries and regions, many of them represented here, with whom we share values and principles. And to conclude, and with Spain, as I mentioned, currently holding the presidency of the European Council of the European Union, I would like to recall the words of one of our most eminent thinkers, José Ortega y Gasset, who, reflecting upon Spain's difficulties almost a century ago, he asserted that Europe, far from being a problem, was actually the solution. These words remain true today, not only for Spain, but for all our member states and future member states. So let us continue to believe in the power of the great hope that Europe represents, in a project worthy of our trust and our efforts for the good of all, but for the good of our countries and our societies. Congratulations again, Madam President, and many thanks to you all.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Ladies and gentlemen.